Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Eid Mubarak to all those who are celebrating today across the globe. I'm really honored, and it's a privilege to be here with you today. And at the outset, I would like to thank Global Insurance Brokers Private Limited for this opportunity. My name is Sebanti Basu, and I am from International Academy of Transformative Leadership, IATL for short. IATL IATL is a leadership development organization set up with the aim of enabling leaders to develop their core consciousness such that they are inspired to create and serve organizations that are best in class, value-driven, and agile. Founded in 2019, under the inspiration and guidance of our founder guide, Maitreya Dadashriji, IATL has its presence in India and Europe. Let me share a little bit about Maitreya Dadashriji. Maitreya Dadashriji can be called a global transformation pioneer and a social reformer. Dadashriji has been the catalyst of transformation of many across the globe through his profound yet simple experiences and realizations that he has given to professionals, youth alike from all strata of society across the globe. Let me also share a little bit about myself before we continue. I'm a learning and development professional, and I have about 20 years of experience across various industries like banking, manufacturing, ITES, and telecommunications. And my job has been to enable people to give their best to perform well by providing them with the required skills and competencies that are required for them to do their job. Now, while I have been doing this job, I have always felt that there is something deeper and more meaningful that can be done. Something that not only enhances their capabilities, but also their capacities to perform better. And this desire came true for me when I came into the association of Maitreya Dadashriji. For the 6 years that I have been in his association and the work that we have done to set up IATL, this journey for me has been extremely fulfilling, and I am here today to share with you some of what I have learned and what I have experienced. So today's topic, as you can see, Inner Chaos to Constructive View, is about the current times, the situation that we are in. And before we go into the topic, because of the platform that we are using, most of it will be sharing from my side. However, I would really love to hear from you. So please leave your comments in the comment box. And if you have any questions or queries, I would love to take those questions, but I will do so towards the end of the session. My friend and colleague Devashish, who is also on this session with us, will help us with the questions towards the end. So please keep your questions with you ready, and I will indicate a time. All right. So this session is for about 45 minutes, and may I urge you to give your all to this session with an open heart and an open mind. Give me a second to just share screen with you so that I can share a presentation. Right. So inner chaos to constructive view. That is the name of our topic. And as I mentioned, this is about the current times. The events that are taking place today in the world. They are unprecedented in human history. The world seemed to have been brought to its knees by a virus. Human beings are caged, the economy is melting, and it seems that most of us, to a certain extent, to a larger extent or to a smaller extent, have been impacted by the situations around us. To add to it, there seems to be accidents like rail accidents and gas leaks and natural disasters, which are adding fuel to the fire. If we look at some of the common things that we are all experiencing, I'm going to focus today on 4 things that we are all commonly experiencing. The first of them is job cuts. Many of us have lost our jobs, and many have lost their livelihoods. And those who still have their jobs are facing prospects of pay cuts. And of course, increments look like a far cry right now. Secondly, the uncertainty that is there around this situation right now is also extremely disturbing. We do not know for sure what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen with our careers, which are the industries which are going to blossom, which are the industries which are going to go under, what's going to happen to our profession, what's going to happen to the education of our children, the health of our elderly, maybe medicines and treatments which are on hold right now. So there's a lot of uncertainty. And at least one thing that is very clear is what's going to happen tomorrow is something that is never, it's not the new normal. Basically, it's going to be very different from the current situation. So moving on to the third one, if you will give me a second. Mm-hmm. So the third situation that we are all in, of course, is that most of us are in confinement because of the lockdown situation across the world. I'm sorry, I just realized that the screen share was not on, and so we've just spoken about job cuts, we've spoken about the anxiety due to uncertainty, and of course now I've moved on to the third topic, which is that most of us are in confinement right now due to the lockdown, and because of that, a lot of people are feeling isolated because they're lonely, and others, of course, are with their family. And while that seems to be like a good thing to be with your family, it is also that there is a lot of friction, there's a lot of disagreement when you're in close proximity with your loved ones, and that's causing some kind of anxiety, stress, and tension. And finally, the new culture of work from home for a prolonged period of time. Adapting to this culture is becoming difficult because work hours seem to have extended, and due to the extended work hours, the differentiation or the demarcation between the time that we spend at home doing chores at home and the kind of time that we spend at work, that has become blurred. And of course, at this time, chores at home is increased. Maybe there are small children at home or elders who need your attention, children who are studying and they have assignments and so on and so forth, and who seem to be hungry most of the time. And then, of course, there are calls happening most of the time at all odd hours, and it's becoming extremely difficult to balance between work hours and non-work hours and adjust to this new culture. All in all, this situation seems to be surreal and rather chaotic. So, what is the impact that such a situation has on our mind, on our body, and on our emotions? If I can borrow a word from the English dictionary, discombobulated. That's the word that fits in perfectly. Emotionally, mentally, physically, we are exhausted. If you look at our emotions, we seem to be on an emotional roller coaster. Emotions range from completely disengaged to deeply distressed, disturbed. And we seem to be experiencing emotional turmoil. Mentally, there is fear. A lot of us are afraid of catching this disease, especially if there are loved ones at home who are young or who are especially old. And of course, the mind is completely influenced by all of the input that it is getting from television, social media, etc., which is often conflicting, and the negative energy that is all around us. We seem to be absorbing this energy within us, and we are getting deeply impacted by it. And what's impacting our emotions and our mind will automatically impact our body. So our body is also experiencing weight fluctuations, pains and aches, lifestyle diseases like blood pressure, blood sugar, and of course sleeplessness because of disrupted sleeping patterns. So all in all, this is not a space from which one can think of being constructive, one can think of contributing. This is a space where people are in survival mode, where people are thinking only and only of self preservation and not of contribution or being constructive. However, to be able to take advantage of the times, to be able to look at these times with a different lens, to be able to redesign your life and to make a difference to others, what is it that we really need to be like? Physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, we need to be fit and able. Mentally, we need to be calm and clear. And emotionally, we need to be connected and positive. The big question, of course, is how. I'm sure social media is flooded with a lot of messages about how or what we should do in the current times, how we should take opportunity of the current times and look at it positively and use it to our advantage, and rightly so. However, the big question is, how do we transform? And what does this transformation really mean? Where is it going to happen? Is it going to happen on the outside? Are these situations, the circumstances that we are in, are they going to disappear? Are they going to get better? Are they going to get worse? We do not know. What we will be able to transform, of course, is our ability to deal with the situation. The transformation will happen or needs to happen within us, not externally. And I'm sure there are a lot of different ways of bringing about this transformation, but today I am going to share with you one particular way that I have experienced myself and I have seen that it has worked for me. So I share this with you. We have already spoken about the body, the mind, and our emotions. There is another layer to us which is deeper, and this layer can be called the core consciousness. Now, this core consciousness is the seat of our higher self. You can call it the seat of universal energy, universal wisdom, universal consciousness, whatever you would like to name it. But if you were to understand it using a term or using an example from our day-to-day lives, there is the big mighty internet out there with its vast storehouse of information. However, it is of absolutely no use to us unless we have some way of accessing it. We have some device with which we can access the power of the internet. So this core consciousness is the access point of the universal energy wisdom consciousness. Let me explain this a little better with a different example. Now, has it ever happened to you that you have decided to visit a particular friend at an address that you're not familiar with? You've never been to this friend's before, and you do not know the locality either. And as luck would have it, you do not have your phone that day, or you do not have internet connection on your phone that day. So what you do normally is take a piece of paper, put the address down, and you reach the general locality. And then, of course, you start asking people for directions. And what often happens is that some people will outright tell you that they don't know. Some will very confidently give you wrong directions. And some others will, of course, helpful souls that they are, will try to give you directions. However, in their enthusiasm and in the amount of detail they put in, often it becomes really difficult to follow. It becomes complicated and confusing, especially for people like me who are not great at reading maps and following directions. So, however, if you had the phone that day, or if you had internet connection on the phone that day, all you had to do was key in the location in your GPS and you would very smoothly reach your destination. Now, how is this related to core consciousness and what it can do for us? To understand the role of core consciousness, we also need to understand the role of the mind. The mind is a processing unit, and it is called the action center. Now, let me again explain this in terms of computers. The mind is like the processing unit, the CPU of a computer. And of course, it needs input for it to process. Now, when the mind does not find specific guidance or input from within, it obviously looks outside externally for input. And when that happens, often the kind of information or the input that comes in is confusing or conflicting, leading to indecision and dilemma. Whereas the core consciousness is, because it is the seat of our higher self and it is connected to the universal wisdom, it can provide, it is called the guidance center, and it can provide guidance to the mind. And when there is complete synchronization between the mind and core consciousness, then what happens is you experience the smooth flow you would experience if you were connected to your GPS and it was guiding you to reach your destination. It gives you internal freedom, it gives you clarity. So let's see, in today's world, in the current times, in the current context, how we can use the power of the core consciousness. To be able to understand how we can use the power of the core consciousness, it is important for us to be able to understand the nature of the energy that is available to us through the core consciousness. So this energy, first of all, one of the qualities of this energy is that it is calming. The moment the mind is able to sync with the core consciousness, it experiences this calmness. Secondly, another quality of this energy is that it is positive and therefore expansive. Any energy which is positive is expansive. To understand this, if I were to ask you, have you ever been in love? I'm sure that the response from all of you would be a resounding yes. And if you go back to that time when you were actually in love, you would remember how you felt like you were on top of the world and ready to take on the world. So when we experience a positive energy like love, we feel expansive. Whereas when we experience negative energies like pain, like suffering, it is contracting in nature, and we often, when we are in pain, we feel like curling up into a fetal position. I'm sure some of you would have experienced that too. So since this energy from the core consciousness is positive in nature and expansive, what it does for us is that it gives us clarity. It gives us access to higher decision-making powers. And therefore, we get clear messages as to what action needs to be taken. And I'm sure many of you, in fact, all of you would have some experience of this, especially in times of challenges. When you were challenged, when you were pushed against the wall, there would be moments of aha within you, and you would know clearly what to do. I'm sure you have experienced this, maybe not at all times, but definitely from time to time. And finally, once again, since this energy is positive, what it does is it recharges our bodies and minds. It's almost like plugging our mobiles into the main. There is constant access to this energy, and why it is not just enough to have an idea or a plan of action. It is important to execute that, right? And you need energy to be able to execute that. So it gives us not only that clarity, but also the energy required mentally and physically to execute the actions that we have been guided to carry out. All right. Now, of course, the question is, how do we develop this synchronization between the mind and the core consciousness? Can it be done in one day? Maybe not. It's like going to the gym. If you just go to the gym and start exercising for a day, you may do various exercises, but you will not really get the body of your desire by exercising only for one day. You would need to practice for a certain amount of time, follow a certain set of guidelines, and then you would be able to get your the desired outcome. Similarly, to be able to connect with the core consciousness, it happens with practice. The strengthening of this bond between the mind and the core consciousness happens with regular practice. And once this thing is strongly established, then this flow of guidance, the flow of energy into our body and mind is felt very strongly and very profoundly. And today, of course, we will not be able to go into that in too many details because of the paucity of time. It is not the subject of one workshop, but several workshops, which we will be happy to guide you through at a later stage. But what I can promise you today is we will get a little bit of a taste of connecting with that core consciousness, the experience of that core consciousness today before we end the session. But before I get there, I think it is time to now take questions if you have any. So I'm going to invite, I'm going to stop screen share for a minute, and I'm going to invite Devashish, my friend and colleague, to share any questions that may be there. Devashish, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, Sebanti, I can hear you. Just allow me a couple of seconds. I'm just looking at people who are posing any questions.
Right, so we're just going to give it a minute or so to see if we get any questions. If you don't have questions right now, that's absolutely all right. I will leave you with an email address and a contact number where you can send in your queries at the end of this session.
Sebanti, there is a question which has just come in.
Yes.
The question is that how do we calm the chaos inside?
Right. Right. Do we have a name as to who has posed this question?
This is Shweta Kamlakar.
Okay. Hi, Shweta. Thank you so much for this question. It's a very important question, very good question. Uh, it is but natural right now to be experiencing this kind of a turmoil within us. It's absolutely natural. And the reason why we are experiencing this turmoil is because our mind currently is influenced by all of the inputs that are coming in from the outside, all of the energies that are there around us. Now, when we are able to connect with our core consciousness, then the effect of that connection with the core consciousness, the result is that we experience calmness. Calmness is one of the key experiences that we have when we are able to connect with the core consciousness. So today, in a little while, in a couple of minutes, we are going to uh, have this experience of connecting with the core consciousness. We are going to see how to do it. So I'm sure if you are able to follow those steps on your own, whenever you have the time, you will also be able to experience the calming energies of the core consciousness. And it will automatically, with practice, it will help calm the chaos inside your mind. Thank you. Devashish?
At this point of time, there are no more questions. So may I suggest that maybe later, after the process, if we have some time left, we could probably
Yes.
take a couple of more questions. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So let us continue with the process. Now I have a request for everybody. This process is going to take about 5 to 7 or 8 minutes. So my request really is to everybody that you find yourself a place where there will be minimum distraction. So if there is a door that needs to be closed, or if you need to move to a corner where you will experience quiet for the next 7 or 8 minutes, then my request is that please do move to such a place, and definitely we can then start the process. All right. Please be seated in a comfortable position. You may choose to sit on the floor, or you may choose to sit on a chair. If you are seated on the floor, then please ensure that you have a mat on which you are seated. If you are seated on a chair, then it would be nice if you had something under your feet, like a mat under your feet. I will guide you through the next 5 to 7 minutes. I will invite you to close your eyes and relax. And after that, all you need to do is just follow my voice. And that's all. And enjoy the process. All right. So if we are ready to start, please be seated in a comfortable position. It is important that we keep our back straight. Please take back support only if you need it. And if you do need back support, then ensure that you are supporting your lower back and your upper back is free of support. Now, very slowly, let's close our eyes. Gently close your eyes. Keeping your eyes closed, relax yourself completely. Feel yourself relaxing fully and completely. Relax the top of your head, your forehead, eyebrows, eyes, cheeks, lips. Relax your entire face. Relax your neck and shoulders. Relax your chest, your abdomen, keeping your back straight. Relax the muscles of your back. And relax your limbs. Feel the relaxation fully and completely in your entire body. Slowly shift your focus to your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Keep your focus on your breath. Do not control the breath. Let it be as it is. Simply observe your breath. Continue to observe your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Keep breathing. Keep observing your breath. Now slowly, keeping your eyes closed, shift your focus to the center of your chest. Very gently shift your focus to the center of your chest and continue to feel the natural rhythm of your breath. As you focus on the center of your chest, feel the natural rhythm of your breath. Keep focusing fully and completely on the center of your chest. Thoughts may come and go. Bring your focus back to the center of your chest. Keep bringing your focus to the center of your chest. With your focus on the center of your chest, feel the breath. And slowly, once you are comfortable, you can come back to the present moment very gently, very slowly. You can move your fingers and your toes. And whenever you are completely comfortable, you can very gently open your eyes. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this small guided process which helped us experience our core consciousness. If you have more questions about this, about anything else that you would like to ask regarding this topic, you can connect with us. You can write to us at info@iatl.co, or you can contact us at this number. Thank you very, very much for your time, for engaging with me today here. I hope you've been able to take something out of it.
Sebanti ji, there are one or two questions. If it's all right, I'll just, some queries and certain questions.
Sure.
There is a question, there is a query. They really need to know more about how to focus, how to meditate. This is from Pratima Paro Gupta. So what all IITL has, I think that's the question she's posing.
Sure. Sure. So we have a lot of programs and offerings that help us connect with this core consciousness. And we are happy to help you, guide you, share with you what we have experienced ourselves. And if you write to us at info@iatl.co, we will definitely be getting in touch with you, or you can call us. Devashish, thank you for making a note of this. We will definitely get back to Paro with more details.
Sure. Thank you very much, Sebanti.
Thank you. It is not just about connecting with the core consciousness, but it is also about how do we use the power of our core consciousness in being more constructive, in putting it to everyday use to find success in life and at the workplace. That's what we specialize in, and I will be happy to share more details with everybody. So on that note, we've come to the end of our time today. Once again, heartfelt gratitude for taking time out and spending time with us today here on Facebook. And once again, heartfelt gratitude to Global Insurance Brokers for giving us this opportunity. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.